Full Service Radio is proudly supported and hosted by Simplecast, the easiest way for a podcast creator to publish and distribute audio on the internet. For more information, visit simplecast.com.
Full Service Radio.
Peace and welcome to the Edible Activist Podcast. I'm your host, Melissa L. Jones, broadcasting live from the lobby of The Line, D.C. On this show, you hear from the voices of dynamic Black people and people of color in the agriculture, food justice, and healing space as they share empowering food narratives and perspectives that stem from the land, all while exemplifying the spirit of activism in their own edible way. Let's get started. All right. Hey, peace and welcome to the Edible Activist Podcast. I'm your host, Melissa L. Jones, broadcasting live from the lobby of The Line, D.C. here on Full Service Radio. So today we are switching up gears just a bit, but a fabulous show as always. So as many of us honor our Black history this month, it's always moving to see how our ancestors, activists, and inventors contributed to building America, right? But for decades, we have only gotten 1 month. So in this episode today, we are going to take time to reimagine celebrating Black history and our servant leaders. And we'll also crush on some of our inspiring ancestors and those currently making history as we speak, because it's happening. And to help me, I am joined by the lovely Maisha Taylor. Hey.
Hey.
And Jay, a.k.a. Veggie Promo. I always have to say that. Carrie.
Both
no strangers to the studio, to the show. Former guests. They are ag enthusiasts, business strategists, farmers, you name it. And all around dope people. So thank y'all for joining me, because I don't like to be in here by myself.
Respect. What's happening, ladies?
So how y'all feeling on this good Wednesday in the month of February?
I'm feeling great, man. What's up with you, Maisha? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. It's been a full moon, so got to stay hydrated.
Man, you know that.
All right, y'all. So as I said, many folks are, honoring our history this month, right? February is always the month of Black history. And we are, for me, every day is Black history. Mm-hmm. Every day is Black history. But it's dope because you're seeing so many folks on social media who are, putting up posts and stories of historical figures who have really contributed to, as I said earlier, building America. And it serves as a steady reminder. But we want to make this more than just 1 month. And there are many folks who are doing just that, right? And so as I was telling you guys pre-show, I don't get too many people who ask me, like, hey, Melissa, you going to do something in honor of Black History Month? And I'm like, my platform is to celebrate Black people all the time.
Every day, all day.
Every day, all day, every month. Hell, I celebrate myself every day, all day, right?
Yes, indeed.
So we're going to go ahead, right? And I want to start off by asking, how each of you all choose to honor your history. And that can be honoring yourselves. That can be honoring your family. That can be honoring, a peer. But, the things that are happening right now, the work that we're doing is history, will be history 50, 60, hell, even 20, 30 years down the road, right? But how are you all choosing to honor your history?
Yeah, I mean, for me, definitely Maisha. Through prayer. I pray every day. Yes. Even when I'm in traffic, I'm like, let me pray that I'm safe,
That's real talk.
Through prayer, through music, through fellowship, studying, so, reading, and then being in community with my peers, because we're making history. So
yes, and that being in community with your peer is that's very significant.
Most definitely,
because we have to not only just stick together, but we have to be together and we have to celebrate together. And so when you think back to how our ancestors tended to the land, and it was together, it was in groups. No one was out there by themselves, for the most part. Hashtag a whole nother story, but for the most part, right? And so, being with your peers, that's a very significant thing. So thank you for saying that. Jay, how about yourself?
A lot to piggyback off of what Maisha was saying. A lot of the similar type stuff. Like I find myself speaking not just to the God inside myself, but also like, the ancestors and stuff. I do that all the time.
Can we back that thing up? The garden inside yourself?
No, not the garden, but no, I appreciate that. I said the God.
Oh, the God. Yeah. I was like, okay, let me know. Break this down.
Yeah. Because
the God. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, by us being, people of color, we're the original people. You know what I'm saying? So like, oftentimes a lot of people that are, with religious sects or different things of that nature, they look to something else, an omnipresence or something like that. And for me, personally, in my reading and my research and just different things like that, like us being people of color, we the original people. So that, a lot of the religious books and things like that, they say that, we aim to, be at one with God. So with me, I look at all people of color as gods. You know what I mean? So because we have that in us. But similar to like Maisha was saying, a lot of self-reflection, a lot of reading, things of that nature. You know me very well, and
I do.
I to be honest with you, I was super, super blessed, and it didn't happen this month. It actually happened towards the middle of last month. Somebody, I still don't know exactly who the person is, but they sent me a lot of handwritten manuscripts from George Washington Carver.
Really?
Yeah, and when I tell you, like, it's a lot, like, I'm definitely going to share it with both of you guys.
Oh my
But
gosh.
I found myself doing a whole lot more research and a whole lot more on the brother, you know what
Speak
I'm
on
saying?
it.
So,
Speak on
for
it.
me, it's like, wow, this is a brother that was doing it in segregated times back then, you know what I'm saying? And not just our people, but everybody just knows him as the peanut guy.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
he's
saying,
more than
and way more than that. You know what I'm saying. So this month, I've mostly been focusing on reading a lot of those manuscripts and things of that nature. Obviously, we know a lot of the stories from some of our other leaders in the past and things like that. But my focus has really been on George Washington Carver. You know what I'm saying. So that's what I've been doing. This month. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's deep. That's deep. Please share.
Oh
Please
yeah,
share.
you already know. You have, yeah,
know.
definitely.
For me, I feel like honoring my Black history is just honoring. Is it appropriate to say my Blackness?
There you go.
Honoring my Blackness, and I hope that doesn't sound like ignorant to some, but that's what I'm going to say. Okay, but so over the last couple years, as I've been evolving into this space and sharing way more time with my brothers and sisters, you are reminded how rich our stories are, and we're reminded of how much we have inside of us to contribute, and you're reminded how much of us shows up in culture and how we are culture.
Yep.
And I relish in our Blackness, and I relish in how we speak. I admire how we dance and how we move. I admire, how we get our hair braided. I admire our style. And so that admiration that I have for my, brothers and sisters is I've always had that admiration, but to be intentional in thinking about it is like the most authentic way for me to, honor the history that is now and the history that has been made. And when I see, photos or videos of George Washington Carver or Fannie Lou Hamer, Dorothy Heights, it's just like I see this richness, and just to be in awe of that is to honor my history and my Blackness and my grandparents and my great-grandparents, to honor that soil, to really honor that soil and that richness, because the soil, if you treat it right and if you tend to it well and if you feed it right, that soil is rich, and that is us, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I was just gonna add to like what I do is also like I go hiking, and then also like making meals and sharing them with my family and my friends. So like at the beginning of the week, I made like a tomato and okra stew. So like making sure that I'm eating Black foods, that I'm eating at the dining room table, that I'm inviting people to fellowship at the table.
Wow.
And then Dr. George Washington Carver, he would always go take walks out in nature, and you know he said that a lot of things came to him.
Yeah.
So when I go hiking, I put my phone on airplane mode.
Wow.
And it's amazing the thoughts, the things
Clarity.
that it provides. So like, yeah, we are some guys, man.
Yes,
Oh,
definitely.
my goodness.
Yeah, clearing, and that's, I mean, obviously by it being colder now and things of that nature, like it doesn't provide us the opportunity. Those of us that are hip, or those of us that are grounded, you know, you can't get outside and get your feet in the grass and, you know, take your shoes off and really get grounded. So oftentimes that grounding happens, like Maisha was saying, like just being around nature. You know what I mean? Like you know, you turn your phone off, you kind of unplug from the world. It'll provide you the opportunity and ability to be able to just have a clear headspace, a clear mind and everything like that, and really become one with nature. Not as you still have the ability to get grounded. Obviously it's not as intense as like getting out and, you know, getting your hands in soil, or, you know, walking through grass with no shoes on and no socks and things of that nature. But, you know, it's very, very powerful to just have that time, just like we talked about, just that time of stillness. You know what I mean? It's very, very important.
Be still, be still, be
And
still.
print the pictures that you take with your friends and your family.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have to start printing these things.
do, Maisha.
Because living in the internet, the interweb, it's not the same.
Nope, it's not. And it's just funny because I was just showing Maisha some photos that I had gotten printed for an event tonight. And when I got them in the mail yesterday, and they're, again, richness, beautiful photos of, you know, Black gardeners and seeing their hands and holding peppers and being in the middle of the field, and, you know, photos of us being in the studio. And it's just so rich and it's so real. And it's like, wow, like this is us. This is us. I think another way that I definitely honor our history is I keep a photo on my nightstand of my great grandparents, and just to look at them and say, wow, like look at this creation.
Yeah.
And to remember that my great grandfather was a sharecropper, and to just think back into like, man, like just imagining them being on the field and seeing my big mom haul the water and chase chickens and stuff like that. It's like, dag, if I can just have a moment as I'm just like planting my feet on Mississippi soil, Mount Olive, where that side of the family grew up at, just being there, just to be with them and feel with them, you know, and just remembering that I am because of them, you know? So that's another way that I certainly honor my history, my lineage, but just always remind, and you brought up another good point, Maisha, about reading. You know, I mean, the biggest way for us to honor our history is to read. And yes, the internet is awesome. It's a powerful tool. We all know that, but there's nothing like, and if you want to digitally read too, that's all good, but there's nothing like picking up a good book and marking notes down and putting stickers down because there's something that stuck with you and something that you want to keep with you. Like that is a powerful way to continue to honor your history, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
and it's and that's why I appreciate the fact that over the last couple of weeks you've been sharing your trip back to Mississippi with the podcast, and, you know, hearing your elders speak, you know what I mean, and our elders speak to, you know, life and, you know, experiences and just different things like that. Like, again, you know, going back to the power of this platform, you know what I mean? I always have to big you up, and I'm, you know, appreciate, being able to hear the stories and stuff. So
you are documenting history.
Most definitely.
These will be archives, hopefully in the Library of Congress or
let's
wherever.
speak on it, Maisha.
You know what I mean? Like, we are the Fannie Lou Hamers, the Dr. George Washington Carvers of our time.
Yes.
So yeah, big up to you.
Yes. Thank you. And again, I mean, this is nothing without you all. I'm every day, like, I wake up with gratitude, like, oh my gosh, like another person let me into their space to hear their story. And that's really big to me, because not everyone has to say yes, but for the most part, people are excited to like, no, we need this. So to allow me to come into your world, like, I'm forever grateful.
Most definitely. Likewise.
So awesome. All right. So for those who are just tuning in, this is Melissa L. Jones here on the Edible Activist Podcast, broadcasting live from the lobby of the Line DC here on Full Service Radio. And today I am joined by Jeremy Carey, aka Veggie Promo, and the amazing Maisha Taylor. What's your handle, Maisha? I am Maisha?
Yes.
And we're going to spell that out.
IAMYEA.
SHA.
Yeah.
I got you.
So I put it up there because a lot of people do not know how to spell my name. But my former handle was Your Produce Pusher.
Yes.
A lot of people are familiar with that handle.
Yeah.
But the I am Maisha is just like, okay, guys, I'm 30.
Right.
I need y'all to know how to spell my name.
They should. And they should. That's honoring Maisha. Let's honor Maisha, know how to spell her name. So, so we are talking about how we honor our Black history, our culture, and, as everyone knows, the month of February has always been dedicated to acknowledging Black history, Black historical figures, but Black history is American history, and Black history is 365. Black history built America. And so, especially for those who have been laying the groundwork in the food space, the ag space, those who are fighting criminal justice. Transportation. It's all, oh my gosh, it's all related. The political space, you name it. There are all sorts of spaces. And so, our history is just so rich, and we just want to honor it in any possible way that we can, and talking about how we do that. And that's through prayer, that's through reading, that's through meditation, that's through photos, that's through visuals, that's through talking, like what we're doing now, convening together to talk about our history and setting, re-reminding folks, like, this is us, and this is what we built, and this is what we did, and this is what we're going to continue to do, because this is a page that needs to be flipped every single day. It doesn't stop on the 28th day of February and we're done. No, this spills into March and whatever the next month is after that, and just over and over and over again. So just talking about how we celebrate our history and what that looks like. Music is a big thing. You mentioned music, Maisha, and I know for me, I dance a little bit. I don't dance a lot, but I dance a little bit. I like to, go out once in a moon and dance. But dancing is such a big part of our culture. I mean, come on now. We got the sounds of go-go here.
Yep.
We have even, when our elders and our ancestors were tending to the land, like they had music when they would go fishing and hunting to celebrate. They would celebrate the catch. They would celebrate, like everything on the land through music and song and dance.
Shoot, I'd even dance if I'm eating a good meal.
Hello,
Hello.
Get it, right?
Yeah. For sure. You know what I mean?
Those are facts, all right?
No, hell yeah.
If you want to see me shimmy, you better put a meal in front of my face. But that's how we express ourselves. I remember being in Detroit. Y'all know I love me some Detroit. Yes. And D-Town was having their annual Harvest Festival. And we were there a couple years ago. And they put on this, I forgot the young brother's name, but he's amazing, Sawande, what do you call it? Is it Sawande? I'll have to look him up and I'll tell you all his handle, but he does West African drumming. So I had the nerve to get on stage, y'all, and I was just like, let me not, I know, I had the audacity.
Heavy in spirit. No. You was heavy in spirit.
Clapping down.
Clapping down.
couldn't get back up.
Right.
They had those meg knees, huh?
And them knees. But I actually have a photo. I don't know, Maisha, if you saw it. I have a photo printed of that. And it was just so beautiful just to see our sisters up here. We were gracious. Y'all can't see me. I have my hands up right now.
Right.
But just like our hands just like floating up to the sky and like grace, right?
Yes.
And the hips are just going to the left and to the right. But it was just a form of expression, you know, and just honoring our roots and just really like this is what we're in alignment with. You know, everything is a rhythm. Where our work has always been a rhythm. We've always spoke in rhythm and code and a certain dialect. It's always been a rhythm. So when you hear those beats, like that has been our rhythm, you know. And so music, even if it's not West African music, even if it's not go-go, like we were just talking about Eat for Beauty DC, who put on this amazing clap session. Y'all go look it up. And you know, even though it was open to everyone, but these are sisters of color who are just like, listen, come move your body. Like this is healing. You know, this is the way that we express ourselves when we're down, when we're angry, when we're sad, you know, but that stems from Black culture, us moving our body. You know, sometimes I laugh when I'm looking at a commercial, right? And I see, you know, because folks are famous now for taking our dances and they're on commercials now, right? And I think back, I'm like, can we copyright our stuff? Like, is there a way to because I see, and it's great, but when you what you're seeing is stuff that stems from our culture.
Yeah, the appropriation of it.
It's the appropriation of it. And at some points, like you try not to be upset about it, but I'm like, that's
the dance, even the syntax.
Syntax. Yes.
You know, yes.
Like,
everything.
All of that. And I'm looking at a commercial and I'm like, it's not us and we're not getting paid for it. And somebody else is pocketing off of our culture.
Yep. And that kind of goes back to what I was speaking to as far as like the God in us. You know what I mean? Like, you know, people that know me and have known me for my whole lifetime and stuff like that, they know that I've always been into sneakers. Okay. So like you look at just a very quick example of something like that. It was a subculture, you know, and then you have certain individuals that were thrust into, you know, prominent places in pop culture, period. You know what I mean? So you look at, you know, a lot of things where now, you know, back in the day, people are like, why in the world are you wearing them colorful ass shoes? And, you know, things like that. And now it's the thing to do. Like everybody's into sneakers. Everybody is, you know, like Maisha was saying, like even our verbiage, the way we carry ourselves and things of that nature, instead of people looking at it and feeling away like, dang, man, like why do they keep taking our stuff? Or why does this stuff become appropriated and things of that nature? That's why it's very important for us to have platforms like this, to have, you know, different opportunities where we come together, we fellowship, and we really build our own and make opportunities for ourselves to be able to monetarily win off of this stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you look at it. I mean, just look around. Like, it no matter what lane you're in, you know, you see different people using our culture appropriated in so many different categories, politics. I mean, everything, you know what I mean? So
they say they want to, you know, they love what we create, but they don't love the experience.
That's
so they don't want to.
That's right.
Right.
And that's, and just like, you know, people that hear me and, you know, talk to me all the time. That's why I always speak to the fact of how powerful the movie The Get Out was to me. You know what I mean?
That was a great movie.
You have people that will pay money, thousands, and I mean, obviously it was fictional, but at the same time, like, nah, that's really what's going on. So, you know, you look at that and you say, well, damn, they'll do whatever to get us, be our, you know, have us, but then don't want to be us and deal with us.
Deep.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh my gosh,
I got it on DVD.
Yeah.
I still believe in DVDs.
Oh, that's tight.
I still buy DVDs.
Oh, I'm with
that's
you.
tight. I got my joint on the I don't buy movies either, but that's definitely a movie that I got on iTunes. You know what I mean?
But it was so real, though.
Oh no, for sure.
It was so real.
Yeah,
it was
for
just
sure.
like, yo, and I'm sure if you watch it over and over, you'll pull a different message from it each time that you watch it.
And like I told you, the sister that played the grandmother in the movie, she went to Northwestern with us. She went to she went to high school with us for all 4 years, from 9th to 12th grade. Betty Gabriel, shouts to her.
Sweet. Oh my goodness. All right, guys, we're gonna take a really short break, and we'll be right back. All right.
All right.
You're listening to Perfect Day, produced by Artists Authentic. For more of Authentic's work, visit allornothingstudios.com. All right, welcome back. This is Melissa L. Jones here on the Edible Activist Podcast, broadcasting live from the lobby of the Lion DC here on Full Service Radio. And I am in studio today kicking it with Jeremy Carey, Veggie Promo,
Hey.
and Maisha Taylor. I am Maisha. Is that I am Maisha or I am Maisha Taylor?
I am Maisha.
I am Maisha. Okay. Y'all going to shout out your handles at the end of the show. So, anywho, we're just having a really good conversation about honoring our Black history and not limiting it to February, and talking about our culture, talking about how we acknowledge who we are through art, music, dance, digital stories, the whole everything. And so, I know earlier you mentioned, Jay, right now you're crushing on Dr. George Washington Carver.
Big time.
Big time. And actually, I pulled up a quote because what I want to talk about next is I want us to crush on some of the folks who, even if it's, our ancestors, our elders, or current folks, organizations, because there are seeds that are being planted right now and have been planted for quite some time that are making history, and that's important for us to acknowledge in real time as well. But speaking of Dr. George Washington Carver, I actually pulled up, he has so many quotes. So many. And I really hope this is a reliable source, but actually I probably should have wrote the source down. But anyway, it was a great quote nonetheless. So in his words, The farmer whose soil produces less every year is unkind to it in some way. That is robber rather than a progressive farmer. Wait, sorry, I didn't read that right. Rewind. All right. The farmer whose soil produces less every year is unkind to it in some way. That is, he is not doing it what he should. He is robbing it of some substance it must have, and he becomes, therefore, a soil robber rather than a progressive farmer.
That's wow.
I know you could relate to that.
Wow.
Well, you both.
Wow. I mean, and that honestly is another thing, and it's speaking to me so much right now because
he promoted composting and soil heavily.
Crop rotation.
Crop rotation, exactly.
And
heavily.
then, not just with myself, but also LeVan, we've been really, really priding ourselves in, towards the end of the summer and then into the off season about really understanding soil biology, you know what I mean, and building up the soil, different growing methods like hugel beds and things of that nature, and just a bunch of different things that are actually, like I said, building up the soil as opposed to being focused on the monetary side of things, taking stuff to market or being so focused on needing this amount of space to grow this much stuff and things of that nature, but really more so doing a lot more research, you know what I mean, with not just with soil, but I've been doing a lot of research and looking into how mushrooms actually enhance bees. Correct. Not just soil, but they help with the bees.
Wow.
And then how cannabis actually is something that we can go to or look to that actually enhances bees as well. So it's a bunch of different things, and it's just like you said, when researching and doing stuff online, obviously it's hit or miss. You definitely do have people that you can focus in on, and that it's golden, the information that they're providing. But at the same time, like I said, the more and more you kind of tap into all of these different sources, you're seeing those similar things that they're speaking to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like I said, it's very, very important. To be honest with you, like I was saying, your soil health is more important than anything. It's
Absolutely.
more important than the seeds. It's more important than irrigation and, all of that. So
Gail says your biggest crop. It's your main crop.
Correct.
Your soil.
Correct. Yeah.
So two folks I have to shout out who I'm crushing on. I'm crushing on so many people. But Gail Taylor being one of them, a three-part harmony just amazing. She was on the show.
Yeah, for sure. Glad they got that situation with the street taken care of. You know what I mean?
She was like one of the first black
for sure.
urban farmers that I met when I first got into it.
That's that.
I mean, you talk about history making, like it's Gail Taylor, and was definitely instrumental in lifting the DC Farm Bill, which she says in her words needs so much improvement and refinement. But she was part of doing that to be able to get space in DC to farm. Still so many stipulations around it, but she was part of that movement. Like that's huge. I know mentioned her earlier, Fannie Lou Hamer, like can never hold a conversation and not mention Fannie Lou Hamer, who was a civil rights activist, huge on voter registration, making sure that black people had the right to vote. I actually had acres of land,
co-ops,
economics.
Development. Yeah.
I mean, so much.
So many different avenues.
an amazing play, a one-woman show at Prince George's Community College, which I definitely highly encourage folks to check out Prince George's Community College, their Performing Arts Center. They have a lot of black plays and performances that go down, and I'd had no idea. It's a beautiful space. I saw this one-woman show that she did. She could sing her butt off. It was astonishing. Chills. When it came to the part where she was talking about bleeding trees, and it showed images of, our black brothers being hung together in droves from trees, and, just talking about, police brutality against herself because Fannie Lou Hamer, that whole situation, her being jailed and beat by police, and but just her work and having acres of land and starting the cooperatives and just really making sure that black people, building that foundation for self-sufficiency for black people is major. I have so many to toss out here, but not necessarily, it is like can be farm ag related, but I love the work that Black Food Folks are doing. So that's Clay and Colleen. They're actually up in New York City. And they work with a lot of their platform is to amplify the voices of black chefs. And they're doing, and a lot of these chefs have received, James Beard Foundation awards. But that doesn't necessarily need to validate their work. But the work that they're doing is just amazing because they make the connection between the chef and the farm, and really incorporating our culture down to the Gullah Geechee, they go to deep pockets of the South to amplify these voices that are left in shadows because you have these larger cities that would only get the attention like DC, LA, New York City. So really doing the work to amplify those voices. They're awesome.
Black food folks.
Black food folks. That's exactly black. How it sounds is how it's spelled.
Yeah.
Black food folks. So anyway, that's who I've been crushing on, and I love their platform, Black Food Folks platform. But there's so many others. How about you, Maisha?
I've really been crushing on, I guess, the Noun folks, Pastor Heber Brown.
Man.
Pleasant Hope Baptist Church.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Man.
We had the opportunity to meet him at Bugs.
Yeah,
that's right. We did. He's supposed to come to the show. He's my cousin. We're cousins now officially.
Yeah, for sure.
He's a good brother in the Black Church Food Security Network.
Yes.
I remember when it started, and he has this thing called the Freedom School, where anytime that there isn't school in Baltimore City, he brings in different community members, volunteers to do different classes for the kids. So you got kids leading workshops on writing books, on French, on gardening, on sewing, all these different things. And when he started, he activated, it was a woman I named Sister Maxine, I believe.
Okay.
Activated the garden on his site.
Yeah, he was the one that he was speaking to. Yeah.
They started in Baltimore with getting churches to activate their land, even partnering with nutritionists to teach nutrition classes and looking at biblical scriptures.
Wow.
And now has expanded to North Carolina, Chicago.
They are all over the place.
Man.
It's like a modern day SNCC or what is it?
I love
a Southern Christian Leadership Corps type of thing. So definitely really crushing on the work that he's doing.
Real talk. Real talk. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we gotta get Heber Brown and we talked. He's a busy man.
Yeah, for sure. Got a lot of hands.
When I took my break, he was like, "Cousin, let me know when your break is over. I'm gonna come."
That's beautiful. That's
He
beautiful.
said he hates navigating DC. I don't blame him. I don't blame him. His platform is so powerful, and I don't know if any of that work has been spilling over into the DC area. It needs to, and especially someone who grew up in the church, and I already have my, thoughts and perspectives about my beloved Christianity, but when we talk about health and food, churches is church that is just one place where we don't get it.
Yeah.
And anyway, hashtag whole nother story, whole nother podcast. But and I see with Heber turning that into a whole month series just to talk about that alone.
Yeah.
Because why our churches aren't making the food and health and farm connection. Anyway, I have my personal
with the
thoughts
land,
with
with
the land.
commercial kitchens, with the people, with the spirituality. It almost seemed like it makes the most sense.
And you know me, Melissa.
But you open the first page of the Bible and it's all there, in Genesis. But anyway, I can go on.
You know me. Just like when I get up in here and get on my soapbox and I try to tell black-owned restaurants and restaurateurs and chefs and things of that nature, y'all gotta stop fucking with Restaurant Depot, man. For real. I mean, we still are in a space now where. Us being farmers here in Washington, D.C. and in the area, some of the yields may not be able to provide full access for your restaurants and things of that nature. But instead of going to the big box retailer, we're out here.
You could even do
we're very accessible.
1%. Commit to 1%.
You know what
supporting
I mean?
Black farmers.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Correct. It's so important. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Here's the thing, right? And I 1,000% support what you all are saying. We need to continue, and this is one of the reasons why I have this platform and maybe on a micro level right now. This platform is so important because we need to penetrate these messages to our brothers and sisters who have these restaurants. It's going to take us individually to make this happen.
Yep.
I get politics, I get policy, I get structures, I get legality, I get all of that. But it is going to take us to motivate that restaurateur and owner to move towards that.
Yeah, and oftentimes it's just education. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. They don't know,
and
you can't fault them.
And I mean, even with me, like I said, in this off season, I've spent time actually reaching out to a lot of people and kind of drummed up business for myself, and into the future, when we get back in the season where people are going to be doing that. Yeah. So it's all about like I said, like you were saying, it's just all about educating and just being that mouthpiece that we're out here. Come holler at us. This is what we're doing. You know what I mean? Right. We appreciate everybody taking advantage of our yields and things of that nature. You know what I mean? On a monetary level, but at the same time, it feels so much better when it's going to us and our people. Course. You know what I mean? So,
of course. All right, I got to toss out a couple more names. So, funny enough, I actually ran into Dr. Min at the market the other day. Rice farmer. He has Purple Mountain Organics. I love following Dr. Min. He is a naturopathic doctor. He's acupuncturist, but he's growing rice.
Yeah.
Who in the world?
And he also sells tools and books.
Yeah.
The whole nine. And when he's out on the farm, it's him and his entire family.
Yeah, it's beautiful to see.
It's so beautiful to see. But I'm like, rice. The man is growing rice.
Yep.
And it's great rice. If y'all haven't had it before, because I guess it's the real deal.
Yeah, correct.
I have never smelled rice so it's beautiful.
Did you try some too?
Yes, I've had it. I've cooked it. Yeah, and it's not. I know. I told him the other day. I said I need to stop by Tacoma Park. He sells at Tacoma Park Market, and it's cowpeas, peas. He does brown rice flour.
I grew cowpeas once.
But I'm like, the rice is amazing. He has different types of rice. So if you want a sticky rice or a red rice, the rice is so good. I mean, I'm no lie, I have not bought another bag of rice since his rice. Yep. And I refuse. I will not because the rice, he's growing the rice. It's the real deal.
Yeah. I remember going out helping them plant some
when he was
out of UDC.
Nice.
I think in the first year, because it started as a research. And now he done took off.
yes,
and
he is.
that's great.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes,
Shout out
he
to that
is.
brother and the family. You know what I mean?
Do you all, we just have a few more moments and I'm actually one last question, but do you all follow Big City Gardner?
Yes. He is
so
dope. He's dope.
dope.
I fuck with the brother, man.
He's in
Heavy.
Texas, right?
Yeah, in
I
the
think
Houston
actually
area.
Van made the
Correct.
connection.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, I mean, just talk about setting an example of just, you can grow everything and do everything in your own backyard.
Yep, and represent us and not
represent
change
us.
and not, you know what I mean?
And it's
Yeah.
just the content. I mean, everything that he does it just feels so authentic.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, I mean, I'm sure obviously he works hard, but he's just a leading example. And I love following him.
Yeah,
I
no,
love
he's
following
for
him.
sure. Yeah, he's a great follow. Great
Goodness.
follow. Very inspirational brother.
Are you guys going to join me back for another show?
Hey, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we'll talk after the show. But anyway, we do need to wrap up in another moment. But I just want to ask you, so as we talk about Black History 365 every day, is there something, what is it that you just want to remind the audience about Black History 365 and how we honor and celebrate any and everything that we're doing, every moment of our lives? Or is there a gem that you want to drop before we conclude the show?
For me, I would say, like I said, Melissa, you know me. I always support everything you got going on. You're always
You do.
speaking to the little bit that you got going on and all kind of stuff like that. I, again, want to lift you up for this platform, for the work that you do, the time that you take out of, out of your own personal life to research, to reach out to us, to give us and provide for us and others like us this opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Sister Maisha, who's doing, the powerful things she's doing, things of that nature. And, just a lot of the other organizations here in the city, you know what I mean, that are doing it. And, I appreciate the fact that it's becoming trendy, but at the same time, those of us that are really, at one with this and at one with what we're doing, we're really becoming leaders.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a lot of the times I'll meet people and people are shouting me out like, come on, brother, keep going, keep doing it. You know what I mean? I appreciate it. It's very humbling because it's just like, damn, like people are really supporting me for something that I'm so passionate about finding my calling. And it's like, it's something I never considered, but I appreciate all of the upliftment and all of the, just everything. Like, I mean, it's a beautiful space. I love it.
What about you, Maisha?
Yeah, I mean, I would say honor, revere, and respect your ancestors. And then also remember that everybody that we are working with, that we are all making contributions. So even you got a cousin who's cleaning up trash on the street, they are important.
That's a contribution.
In the movement. So to recognize that like everybody's contribution is adding to the, the historical quilt patchwork.
Ooh, I like that.
For sure.
For sure. So for me, I'm going to leave on this very last note. When I think of Black History 365, it's okay for others to tell our story, but tell it correctly.
Yep.
And what you don't know, you ask, and you do heavy research. And if it's not correct and I correct you, acknowledge my email, acknowledge that I've reached out to you because it's not right. Because if you continue to tell an incorrect story, that's what's going to get passed down the line.
Yep.
Straight up. Thank you guys for listening.
Hey.
They can find Maisha at
I am Maisha, IAMYEASHA, or Your Produce Pusher. So I do have a Your Produce Pusher handle, and that's Your Produce Pusher spelled correctly.
And for me, it's Veggie Promo. The only thing I'm on social media wise is Instagram.
That's
so,
all good.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Peace, y'all.
All right.
Peace.
Thanks for tuning in. You can catch today's episode on fullserviceradio.org, as well as iTunes and Spotify. Be sure to follow Food Talks in Color, that's just the letter N, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter for all updates. Are you an edible activist? Sure you are. Come join me on the show. Just shoot me a DM on the gram or connect with me at foodtalksincolor.com. And if you're interested in sponsoring this podcast, let's connect. Peace and blessings. And remember, in the words of Baba Tariq Adunu, there is no culture without agriculture.